Ever wonder what Bigfoot eats when he's not lurking in the shadows? A new cookbook called The Squatchin Kitchen offers some hilariously disgusting answers that will change how you think about cryptid cuisine forever.
You know what's fascinating about that concept? It's either complete genius or total madness, maybe both. Tell me more about what our forest-dwelling chef has cooked up.
Well, imagine the most pretentious cookbook you've ever read, but written by a Sasquatch who thinks toe jam is a delicacy. We're talking recipes like Pacific Northwest Pond Scum Pudding, and my personal favorite, Rocky Mountain Roadkill Ragu, which specifically requires a deer that's been sunbathing on asphalt for at least 3 days.
Oh my goodness, please tell me there's a section about proper seasoning techniques.
The seasoning guide is actually where this book really shines. Quatch, our wilderness gastronome, recommends using whatever was stuck in my ear that month as a primary spice. And there's this incredible recipe for Appalachian Armpit Stew that features what he calls that fuzzy green stuff that grows in my armpit during humid days.
You know what makes this so brilliant? It's actually a perfect satire of those overly precious cooking shows where chefs go on about hand-foraged ingredients and ancient techniques.
Exactly right. And what really elevates it is how the author never breaks character. The book includes this whole elaborate Sasquatch society, complete with annual events like the secret Sasquatch solstice soiree held in Yellowstone's most remote geyser basin. Quatch actually takes credit for those mysterious steam vents the Park Service can't explain.
So this isn't just a collection of gross recipes, it's building an entire world through food. That's pretty sophisticated for what could have been just a one-note joke.
The world building is incredible. There's Uncle Theophilus, famous for burping the entire saga of the great Sasquatch migration across Lake Superior, and Cousin Beauregard with his chronic fur matting condition. Every recipe comes with these elaborate backstories that create this rich tapestry of Sasquatch culture.
That must make for some pretty interesting recipe instructions. How detailed does it get?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. There's this whole passage about Sierra Nevada slime surprise, where Squatch explains that the elevation has to be exactly right, too low, and you're just making basic body butter. Too high, and even the most adventurous alpine chipmunks won't touch it. And every storage instruction specifies that things keep indefinitely in a damp cave and get better with age.
That's exactly the kind of commitment to detail that makes something like this work. How does the author handle the actual writing style?
The prose is surprisingly sophisticated. It perfectly mimics high-end food criticism, but applies it to these revolting concoctions. Like this amazing description of one dish having notes of frog eggs, essence of decomposing leaves with subtle undertones of deceased waterfowl. It's like Anthony Bourdain meets Bigfoot.
Well, that's both hilarious and horrifying. Does the book explain any other wilderness mysteries through this culinary lens?
Actually, yes. Those mysterious lights people see in the forest. That's just the bioluminescent Blue Ridge belly button bisque reaching peak fermentation. Strange smells near the swamp? Just the latest batch of bayou backside bouillabaisse aging to perfection. The book manages to explain away practically every cryptid phenomenon through the lens of Sasquatch cooking.
You know what I find really clever about this? It's taking this scary, mysterious creature and making it relatable through something as universal as food.
That's exactly what makes it work so well. Instead of being this terrifying forest monster, Squatch comes across as this earnest foodie who just wants to share his cultural traditions with humans. He's genuinely puzzled about why people run screaming when he emerges from the shadows to offer them some 3-moon fermented toe jam taffy.
So what's the most outrageous recipe in the whole book?
Well, the Cascade Mountain belly button broth takes the cake. It requires ingredients that have been fermenting in the author's navel for at least 6 lunar cycles, and it has to be prepared during a full moon while standing in a mountain stream at precisely 3:47 a.m. The garnish is made from whatever fell out of my fur during the last rainstorm.
That's simultaneously the most disgusting and most specific recipe I've ever heard of. How has the Bigfoot community responded to this?
You know, it's become something of a cult classic at cryptozoology conventions. Instead of just debating grainy photos and analyzing footprint casts, they're now having heated discussions about whether toe jam really needs 3 full moons to properly ferment. It's brought this wonderful sense of humor to a community that sometimes takes itself a bit too seriously.
Well, it sounds like this book has really found its audience. Any final thoughts on our hairy chef's culinary contribution?
I think what makes the Squatchin kitchen so special is how it reminds us that even in our pursuit of mysterious creatures and unexplained phenomena, it's okay to laugh a little. Just maybe not while eating anything that's been fermented in a Sasquatch's belly button.